Okay, that's some good advice. So, and actually, I think there's people that got a lot of excuses on why they can't do that. You know, the fitness, the setting the boundaries, and the environment. I mean, I had a friend who was going through a tough time, and he asked me to have like lunch with him, and he said he just needs. This year was the year he needed to change, and I gave him that advice. I said, listen, get around people who are successful. He says, like, I don't know anyone that's successful. I was like, we pretty much know the same people.
So they're not doing the first thing, is the thoughts.
Yeah, the thoughts.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, who do we know? I said, what about this guy? Go, oh yeah, great idea, go ahead. What about this guy? So he had like a list of 10 people, maybe not 10, maybe like 6 or 7, girls and guys who were really inspirational. And I said, okay, you've got to reach out to them in an authentic way, because people want to help. If you reach out to someone and go, oh, you know, we're just like, you know, colleagues and I just want to pick your brain. I said, no, you need their help. Like, just go at them really authentically and say, I've had a tough time with different things in my marriage and financial worries. This year I want to make a difference. You're really inspirational. You've done this, this and this. Can I just take you for a coffee? Grab a sandwich. I just want to pick you. I just want to be around people. So he got this list and I said, right, you've got to reach out to people in a week. And he emailed me back the next day. I can't do it. I'm too embarrassed. I was like, mate, if you can't do this, just forget ever wanting to be successful.
Yeah.
Just do it, man. I said, I promise you, don't be cocky. Just do it in an authentic way. People are going to...
So what, based on our conversation so far, what do you think the thing is that's stopping him?
He's worried about people rejecting. Well, he's worried about them being here and him being there.
He has a wound that is not addressing.
He's got a wound, yeah.
So you're trying to, like, with the greatest intention, you're trying to get him to work on doing. Yeah. But what he needs to do is work on his being. And who's he being? And when he changes the being, the doing
he's still got
changes.
That issue, actually. But anyway, he needs to come
do psilocybin.
Yeah, I'm going to pick it about that as well. But but then he called me the next weeks. I was like checking in, like, how you doing? Because I've got really exciting updates. I was like, okay, so I think this guy at the time was living in the Northeast. It's not like the highest salaries there.
Northeast UK.
Yeah, unless you play for Newcastle. And then you earn a lot. But he wasn't, I think it was like, let's say 30, 35 grand, which is okay. It's not like a bad salary, but with his talent and his abilities, I mean, so smart, so talented. But anyway, he messaged me and said, I've got some news for you. I did exactly what you told me to do. I reached out to these guys and he said, I've got 3 job offers. One is for 90k to be head of marketing of a local bank. 3x. Another one is like a not as bigger base, but there was equity from the start. And then there was another one which was similar, just like mate. So he implemented, started a new job, quit, and got like tripled his salary within 3. So that's the power of the environment.
And what I was going to say, you were kind of going to, what happens if people are not willing to do that?
Yeah.
My answer for that was going to be, get someone to hold your feet to the fire. And that's exactly what you did for him.
Yeah.
Like, that is why I have a job. Most people know what to do, but they don't do what they know.
Yeah.
It's because there's no accountability. Most people don't have accountability in the area of their personal goals. Yeah. Like wanting a better job, wanting a better relationship, wanting better health or fitness. No one's holding them accountable there. Because your family, as long as you're paying the bills and the work is you're doing your job, everyone's happy.
Yeah.
But your spirit is unfulfilled. Yeah. So you need someone to hold your feet to the fire. It's one of the greatest quotes. All my clients know this quote from Andrew Priestley. If you're doing it alone, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You need to, once again, people are willing to help you to the level that you're willing to help yourself. If you're only willing to help yourself 50%, people will only help you 50%. But if you're willing to be honest with yourself, there's 3 levels to truth that at least I've created these 3 levels. One, the easiest one is to be honest with other people. But the truth, that saying, the truth sets you free. The truth sets you free in every way, especially from suffering. But the easiest way to be truthful is to be truthful with other people. The next thing to do for your friend and for anyone else listening that wants to get out of their own way, to want to free themselves from suffering. So to be honest with other people. The second one is to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Be really honest about where you are
Yeah.
and who you are and where you're heading. That's what woke me up at 23 years old. In a very different way, that's what woke me up recently as well.
Yeah.
The third one is the hardest part, which relates back to your friend, fear of being judged, etc. It's allow others to be truthful with you. That's the hardest part.
Yeah. But I think if you don't have the first one, maybe if you don't have the second one, you won't embrace the third one.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's in that order.
Yeah, okay.
First, tell others the truth. But then when you're willing to go and tell them the truth, be honest with yourself about what the truth is. And then in the feedback, allow them to be honest with you. Because if you're not willing to hear what they're going to tell you, it's you are already resistant to the truth. You're not facing the truth.
Yeah.
You want help, but you're not willing to face the truth. So what's that going to do? Band-aid, 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 Band-aid for the rest of your life. Which one is tiring and exhausting for you, but it's fucking tiring for other people.
Yeah.
You know, you just constantly keep asking for help, but you're not willing to fix yourself. It's,
Yeah. It's funny you say that about like routines and fitness, because my girlfriend and I went to Singapore to the Grand Prix a couple of weeks ago. It was awesome. We had a hotel balcony. Oh, it was called a Fullerton.
I very rarely get jealous, but when I saw your guys' video in the Grand Prix, I was jealous.
It was pretty sick. But you met so many people there, and like everyone's got a family office. It was like an asset management company that managed my cash. They invite us to they have every year they have a big gathering at the Grand Prix. But there's so many people that had like family offices. I don't know how rich you've got to be to have a family office, but I think it's 50 million, 100 million. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure it's that high.
I'm not sure it's that high, but you have to get the whole infrastructure. You know,
depending on the family office that you're going to.
It depends.
Smaller ones will accept you lower.
Yeah. But you need significant wealth. And everyone's got like their own private equity companies, hedge funds, VC companies. A guy just sold this company for $500 million. I didn't hang around him. I didn't feel too good about myself. But they're all so unfit. That's probably a bit. I shouldn't really say that. Nice guys, really great. I enjoyed the company.
Just in case they're listening.
No, I genuinely did. It was like I learned a lot, but they all need some structure because I think also in the finance world, particularly in banking, stock exchange, equities, bond trading, it's all about.
There's no balance.
There's no balance like party hard. Yeah. They really need someone to go, here's a routine, you need to lose 10 kgs minimum, and here's a plan. So I think it's...
If there's no balance, people think high performers think that balance is weak. But a fighter jet or a Formula One car, if it doesn't have balance, what happens? It crashes. If you don't have balance in your life, eventually you will crash. It will come from a divorce. It will come from your children disowning you. It'll come from financial troubles, bad investments. It'll come from mental health issues. It'll come from suicide, depression, or it'll come from cancer and disease. But if you have a lack of balance in your life, you are heading towards some kind of crash. It might not come now, but it might come in 10 or 20 years from now. The only way to avoid yourself from crashing is balance. And I don't believe in work-life balance because I've chased and lived a life that I'm passionate about. Why do I want to break from a passionate life? Artists that follow their passion, they don't want to break from it. People that do what they love don't need a holiday from their life. Even if they go on holiday, they still want to keep doing their life. So I don't believe in work-life balance, but what I believe in is high-performance balance. You need to check, ask, assess, and adjust and measure all the time. Am I in balance? So that you can be more efficient, more flowing, more happy, more purposeful, more passionate, more at peace, more calm, cool, and collected, whilst smashing business, life, and relationships. Not smashing partners, but smashing relationships, as in winning.
Balance is, I think you say something which I need to also take on board myself. Is don't judge yourself on what you do occasionally.
Absolutely.
Judge yourself on what you do most of the time. So you can tell my girlfriend that when I'm drinking weekend.
For a long time, look, I lived in the UK for 20 years and I got into personal development when I was 23. I was coaching professionally and speaking as well. I started to speak internationally around 28, 29. And for a long time, I was still caught in the UK culture. I'm not speaking for all of the UK, but part of the UK culture that you know very well is partying, drugs, alcohol. And when I say drugs,
pub cultures, I think mostly pub. That's
pub
like
and party
everyone,
culture.
And then,
So for the listeners that aren't from the UK, when I say drugs, I mean like party drugs, cocaine, ecstasy, etc. People go to a party, and the first thing you're thinking is, who's got drugs here? Yeah. And that's almost every wedding that I've ever been to in the UK. I wouldn't be surprised if people do it at funerals as well, after the funeral, but at a party. But when I moved to Thailand, that's one of the things I was really, really looking forward to get away from. But I did it for a long time, even throughout my marriage. It might have been once every few months or whatever, but I was still partying. But the reason why I was able to do it through my late 20s and my 30s is that exact reason. I never made it my identity.
Yeah.
And if I did go out and have a party, I would always know that what shapes you and who you really are is not what you do every now and again. It's what you do every day. Yeah. So anyone that knew me through my 30s knew this guy's a crazy man, because if we go out and party and drink and do coke, etc., he's going to get 3 hours of sleep and he's going to go run 10K.
Yeah, that is crazy.
And you've known me.
I've seen you do that
for years. Yeah. Because I put in my brain, it's nice to party with people, but this is not who you are. You wake up and you go straight back to who you are. And that's why I was okay with it. Yeah. But then it got to a point where when I moved to Thailand, I was like, I'm done with that part of my life.
Yeah.
And I did it with grace and gratitude, not with I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I enjoyed it. And I found high performance balance in it. I really enjoyed it. I don't regret it. I don't take it back. I've had some great experiences with a lot of people, great nights, great parties. I even went to Glastonbury Festival once. Once was enough for me. Yeah. But when I moved to Thailand, that changed everything. And then the number one thing that changed everything was becoming a father. Yeah. Now I don't even drink alcohol. Because in everything I do, I want to know that I'm being a role model to my daughter. I don't care about anything else. Yeah. My work, my passion for serving others, helping others, for impacting, influencing, is all based on one thing. Will my daughter be proud of me? And everything that I do for the rest of my life will be that. Yeah. Because I had seen suffering, and I'd experienced suffering as a child. And like I said, everyone is just doing their best. Yeah. This message is just about love and compassion and understanding and realizing and becoming. Yeah. And for me, that's what matters. Yeah. My work ethic, my 3 a.m., 4 a.m. wake-ups, my putting out content into the world, coaching, it's all for her. And yes, you can, whatever you do every now and again defines you. Sorry, whatever you do now and again doesn't define you, but also no kid has rules for life. And I don't want my daughter to grow up thinking that your greatest potential is in drinking alcohol. Yeah. So I don't allow alcohol in daily, alcohol in the fridge or anything. It's not acceptable for me.
That was big in my household.
Yeah, but that's why we fell into it. Yeah. That's why I started drinking at the age of 14 and smoking, because that was life. Yeah. Our life is a mirror of what we experience growing up. Yeah. Until we either go down and make it worse, or we go up and change the pattern. Anyway. Yeah. So, but yeah, to go back to what you were saying.
People not to judge themselves too much.
Yeah.
When if it's only now and then, you're going to feel bad for a few days.
Yeah. And if you're someone that's...
Or whatever, junk eating.
It's really powerful what you said for the listeners. Just to summarize, don't judge yourself for what you do every now and again. And here's a mantra that's very powerful. If you did something a lot in your life and every now and again you regress, don't punish yourself. The suffering comes in the punishment, not in the activity. So next time you do something, whether it's related to drugs or sex or partying or self-sabotage or binge watching, binge eating, whatever the vice is or behavior is that you're not proud of anymore, as soon as you come out of that, say this: thank you, God, for reminding me of how I used to live my life. Because now you can turn that into a positive experience. It's like, oh, I've changed. And then rather going, I went back to this thing, oh, I'm terrible. No, just think of it as a movie scene coming in and going, just showing you this is how you used to live all the time. Celebrate your life for where you are now.
Yeah.
and then go do something positive.
That's it.
And that removes the guilt and the shame of the experience.
Because people will be spiraled down because they feel so bad about themselves.
Absolutely.
It's like they've let themselves down.
It's not the activity
Eating,
that
sex,
makes you
drugs,
spiral.
drink,
It just is the activity. The activity is the activity.
Yeah.
Once again, only attachment to a thought creates suffering. Now, of course, there's a chemical imbalance in the body if you're partying, for example, but you can fix that the next day. Drink loads of water, oxygenate the body, get outside, let the blood flow, get some sun, ground yourself, feet on the earth, do some fitness, go to the gym, do a sauna, do an ice bath. There's tons of things you can do to put the body back in balance.
Ice bath.
But if you're sitting there doing the ice bath, sauna, gym, yoga, Pilates, and you're thinking, I'm so terrible for what I did, you might as well just sit at home and eat pizza.
I bet a lot of people relate to that.
Yeah, because everything in the world is energy. Match the frequency of the reality that you want, you cannot help but get it. So if you're vibrating at the frequency of lack and scarcity and shame and guilt, that's what you'll get more of. And your subconscious's only job is to prove you right. It's a survival mechanism. Your program, your software, your subconscious is looking at what is dangerous, what is a threat, who am I, what do I move towards. And the program that is written is based on the language that you feed it, the code that you feed it. So a lot of like manifestation coaches talk about codes. And codes just means language, affirmations, mantras, incantations, etc. So if you're saying, I'm guilty, I'm shameful for these reasons, every day your program that you have chosen to write is looking for, how can I prove that Paul should feel shame in his life? How can I prove that Paul should feel guilt in his life? And it's just looking all day. Let's find some more guilt. Let's find some more shame. And it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. You'll keep getting more and more and more and more of it. And nothing stays the same in life. So you're either on an upward spiral or you're on a downward spiral. And that's how everyone in the world is either getting better or they're getting worse. There is no such thing as staying the same.
Okay. That's interesting. I think we need to work on a new routine for me. Morning.
Non-negotiable routine.
Non-negotiable.
Let's do it.
Not eating after 8, bread, crisps.
After 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Yeah. I've gained I keep on going between 99 kgs to 150. Like last year, sold my company. Money hit the bank. I was like, okay,
let's go.
I don't feel any different. I was big. I was like 117 kilos, 118 kilos.
Yeah, that's because of a lack of balance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a hard year, like, just the stress of it all. But that balance and getting fit was, So I sometimes slip back and like binge eat, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like beating myself up. But the routine is something I need to get back.
So just in that example, obviously there can be underlying stuff, but a quick fix for that is next time you binge eat, remember, only judgment of my thoughts or judgment of my observations is causing the suffering. So just binge eat. Don't think about it. Just binge eat. And then while you're binge eating, already know that my alarm's going to go off at 5 a.m. on a run 10K. I promise you, the experience of the experience will change.
Yeah. Because I don't even enjoy it. Because I'm feeling too guilty while I'm doing
because
it. So
now everything has energy, right? So like very quickly, side note, from a vegan perspective, I know that everything I'm consuming has energy, but also the intention that you put in your food creates a vibration. Intention is powerful. This is why you can think about someone and they can call you, because intention is very powerful. My first ever teachers that I've never met, but online teachers, Dr. Wayne Dyer, he talks about, there's a great book free on YouTube called The Power of Intention. And he says we intend everything in our life. If you're eating food and you're thinking about getting fat, you can still get fat because of the intention. Have you ever heard people say, I'm sure everyone has had that, someone in their life where they say, I don't know why, but I can eat whatever I want and I never put on weight. It's because they state it.
I don't like those people.
It's because they say it. Like I can sleep less hours and I say I never get tired. It's not because of the lack of sleep. I know, because for most of my life, if I didn't sleep, I would go based on what everyone says I should be saying. I would say that I'm tired, I didn't sleep enough, I wish I had more, and I'll just keep keep casting a spell of I don't have energy. And then I just said, I'm just not going to believe that anymore. And I just started saying I had enough sleep. I woke up because I'm passionate about life. And I just stopped feeling tired. And then if I did feel too tired, I'd be like, oh, let me do a high performance balance or rebalance, and I'd go meditate or go have a power nap. Like I had a power nap today for like 15 minutes. I was like, boom, amazing.
Yeah. So it's simple stuff, but it's not easy.
It's not
to
easy,
have the
man.
consistency to do it.
And this is why it helps to have accountability.
Yeah, you need accountability. Everyone does.
No one wants to jump off a cliff if that's too high and that's scary. But what's the easiest way to get someone to jump off a cliff? Have your best mate jump with you.
Yeah.
Then it becomes so easy.
Yeah.
Skydive. Many people avoid skydiving all of their life until someone they know, a loved one or a best friend, does it with them. If you have someone running in the same direction as you, it's easy to keep going because the fear disappears, the uncertainty disappears. You don't feel like you're alone. The uncertainty around the outcome disappears because you're like, hey, they're going to go through the same experience as me. Same for plant medicine. Many people know the power of plant medicine to face your truth, to face your wounds, to face your trauma, to face your past. But it's not until they can go with someone to quote unquote hold their hand or to be there next to them, to be in their corner, that they actually go and do it and say, okay, I'm willing to do this now. This is why we are stronger together. This is why we go to war in packs and herds. We don't go to war alone, because you're stronger together. And this is the power of coaching. This is the power of coaching. If you have someone in your corner, in your back, having your back in the green room, supporting you, running in the same direction as you, tethered to you, going in the same direction, supporting you unconditionally, telling you the truth, holding you accountable, it's crazy how far you can go. Because you're willing to jump where you were not willing to jump before. You're willing to move where you were not willing to move. You're willing to excel and ascend to places that you've never been before, just because you've got someone that's willing to take you to that place and support you.
And I think a lot of the clients you have, I know you got mostly very professional people, but people who are like CEOs and partners of law firms or accounting firms, it only needs a little decision, a new habit, to dramatically improve sales, dramatically improve profit and loss. And when you combine those little things, it's like, that's where I think a lot of people don't see the value in coaching because they just don't get it.
Or they
just
think
one routine can change the entire business.
Or they think I need to be weak or something needs to be wrong with me. I've got a client that's worked with me on and off. You met him recently. I've got a client that's worked with me on and off for quite a few years, and he just re-engaged with me for coaching because he's done it already. I've already got him to partner in one of the big 4 companies, and he just came back to me for coaching, understanding that he'd already worked with me, and guess what his only goal is? He wants to get up at 5 a.m. and be non-negotiable around meditation. So he's paid me 5 figures to just hold him accountable to getting up at 5 a.m. and to make sure he's meditating. Now, of course, it's more than that. He has, by having a coach, he has one conversation in his life that feeds energy into his personal goals. Most people don't have that. You need to have a regular conversation with accountability, a best buddy, a coach, a mentor that's feeding energy into the areas of your goals. That is very powerful.
Into the energy of your goals.
But he's paid me just to make sure that he gets up at 5 o'clock and meditates. Because he understands that if he can nail that, that will change everything for him. And I asked him, you can nail this, and when we nail this, where will you be 3 months from now? He said, I think I'll be unstoppable. And he messaged me today saying, and you met him, he's very successful. He messaged me today saying, we're 1 week in. He said, I've got a big meeting today. I'm going to absolutely smash it. Right. And he said, send me a checklist, like got up at 5, meditated, took the kids to school, boom, boom, boom. It's like, that's power and accountability,
so
man.
Good. Nice.
The one outcome I get for people is fulfillment/certainty. The thing I do for people, if I had to put in one word, it's just hold them accountable. I will hold your feet to the fire, and you better be prepared, because I will tell you the truth. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear.
And that's why you can't work with everyone. Going back to what you said before about the number 3, which was accepting truth from others.
Yeah, exactly.
You've rejected a lot of clients because you've said one thing and they've gone, oh no.
Yeah, or it pissed them off, or they got all weak and soft.
You knew that wouldn't be a good match.
I told one of my clients. I told one of my clients, there was a millionaire at 34, had his own company in the UK. I told him he's fat.
But that don't well.
And when I was in a video message as well, I've never met him. He just sent me this whole pitch of why he wanted to work with me, and I told him, clearly you've done very well in your life, but no one should be as fat as you.
Oh wow.
And he put down the phone, and he still, to this day, 6 years in, he still works with me.
Oh, he works with you.
Yeah, he still works
Okay.
with me to this day. This is like 6 years ago, just before my accident. So I told him he was fat, took a lot of his money, then had an accident, and I couldn't coach him. But
Can I just say to everyone, this isn't the strategy to win business with everyone. Don't send videos.
but anyway, I told him
fat.
no one should be as fat as you, and I knew I was taking a risk, but I had to stay in my integrity.
Yeah.
If I didn't tell him the truth, I'd be like all of his employees or his family. And he needed someone that was willing to tell him the truth. And he told me, still to this day, every year he tells me, I'll never forget that conversation.
And that's
Because
what motivates
when
him.
I put down the phone, I thought, who is this motherfucker to tell me? I mean, he's financially more successful than me.
Yeah.
And after he cooled down and the red disappeared in his face, he told me, just for that one thing, I knew that this was my coach. Because he was right.
Yeah. And the truth killed. When someone holds up the mirror and you know it's true.
Yeah. So he went
That
from
hurts.
overweight, out of balance, unfulfilled, successful business person, quote unquote successful.
Yeah.
Now he's done a self-supported Ironman. He's an actual Ironman. He's done an Ironman race. He's done ultra cycling events. He's living in all of his values, does surfing, goes to the beach, does running. He's doing a marathon swim coming up. He's running a high performance event in his city in the UK with speakers from around the UK in like 3 weeks. Just because.
Just one thing.
Just because
You called him fat.
I called him fat.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's not a judgment on
uses-
anyone.
yeah.
You can think of that as a metaphor.
No,
Let's
yeah.
think of it as a
But
metaphor.
it's the truth they
Yeah.
need to hear at the time. And that
Yeah, he
changed
needed
everything.
it. It's not about the words. It's about the truth that
Yeah.
it stood for.
Yeah.
I told another guy recently, and this is no disrespect to him because he'll probably watch this, and I hope he understands that the truth will set us free. He started to engage with me. I was like, this guy really needs help. So I told him, don't worry about the money. Just pay me whatever you can. It was less money than I've ever received in 20 years of coaching, even as a personal trainer.
Wow.
And I just said, let's just get this going. And 2 weeks in, I told him, I can't do this. Like, this is not right for me. I said, your energy is just
Off.
like, it's just, you're always just,
Negative. Yeah.
And I was like, change that.
Victim
Change
mentality.
that. Change that. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't a victim because he was showing up,
Yeah.
but everything was difficult. You know, like send me spreadsheets. And I was like, you're just making this way more difficult than it needs to be. And this is not good for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not good for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, I got a lot of questions. Probably too many questions.
We can always do a part two, man.
Yeah, we're going to do part
Once
two.
again, I'm so
But this
grateful.
this is actually mostly for recapping on stuff I want to implement in my life. And if we look at you now, you know, I think you've got lots of clients coming through. Every time you come here, someone wants you to do a speech. You went for a run with.
Well, I just want to stop you there respectfully. Like, that's not the truth. Integrity is very high for me. I moved to the UK, became a monk, followed my truth, became a fully expressed version.
Moved to Thailand.
Yeah, I moved to Thailand.
Yeah,
Got a divorce. Everyone couldn't understand why I moved to Thailand. Couldn't understand why I was going to move to Dubai. Couldn't understand why I got divorced. Couldn't understand why I became a Buddhist monk. Couldn't understand why I became fully expressed version of myself and started getting tattoos in places like my hands and my neck and my face. But that came at a cost. You know, in life, there's benefits and costs to everything. So I was smashing it, and then I had my accident, and then I built it up again, and then I moved to Thailand. And I realized just recently that moving to a paradise island, having been a monk in orange robes, living in board shorts and fitness clothes, that's not what my clients want. You know, and you actually, respect to you, paid to you, you help me rarely see this clearly because you're successful in business. I'm successful in personal transformation.
Yeah.
And you actually said these words to me. I mean, you hang around me, you pay to have my services, you know, you've brought people to me, etc. over the years and including now. But you said to me, your life doesn't look successful in terms of what your clients are looking for. Yes, you give them this, but let them get inside first. So my business took quite a hit, but I'm still grateful for the clients and the business and the students that I have and the speaking opportunities. But it's nowhere near where it was, and nowhere near where it could, should, and will be. And my commitment, and I want to say this now, one, for integrity and transparency, but also I want people to watch what I do over the next year. Like I've been a 6-figure coach for many years, living very comfortable life, going to amazing resorts, flying business class, all that stuff. But this is the year where, from a place of being a servant leader for my daughter and for suicide and all suffering that exists, this will be my first 7-figure year, and I can't wait. I really can't wait.
He's going to smash it, I've got no doubt.
Yeah, no, it's already happening.
It's already happening. Well, that's actually what I was going to go into, is the, you the momentum's there now. Things are heading in the right direction, no doubt.
Yeah,
so there's a few things actually. But so, one of your books, I can't remember which one, but you were talking about how the crash and the near-death experience, all the training you'd done, was basically
spiritual fitness on Amazon.
On Amazon, okay. Yes, that was one that...
My physical training made me survive the accident.
Yeah.
My physical fitness, my spiritual fitness is what got me through the recovery.
Yeah. So I'll come on to that in a second. But going on to things look great now, and they are. But in the last 12 months, if you don't mind opening up, which goes on to applying your own coaching to yourself. But the last 12 months have probably, even more than the accident. So the accident, I'll tell everyone quickly and then we'll go into it. But JP was doing a charity cycle ride for Callum's mum.
A client and friend.
Yeah, client friend. Great guy. Got a great business now. His mum passed away early from cancer, and he did this bike ride from Land's End to John O'Groats.
Yeah, top of the UK to the bottom.
Yeah, I've got a few friends who've done that. You've got to put like oil everywhere, right? Cream, because otherwise you get blisters all over your legs and stuff.
Oh no, I've been cycling all my life.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so you get second or third day, things going well. Life is a dream. You've got this massive house in. I'll come on to this later.
Wife, Mercedes, 5-bedroom, country estate.
And you get smashed head on by a drunk driver. Day 8, okay. And then you can't remember anything. You turn him
to this day, I don't remember it.
So I'm going to talk. I'll come back to that to talk about how your training and who you are helped you get through that. But I think in the last 12 months, even darker than maybe
100%.
That
100%
period. It's probably been this year with the transition and difficulties with, potential relationships. And I think the things that you pride yourself on, being a great example for your daughter, being always the positive guy in the room. And I think you were really tested in the last 12 months. So I guess going back to, you've also given some tips, but a lot of people might see you or other people on podcasts and think, but they say this and that, but they've never been where I've been in terms of darkness. But you were in a pretty dark place in the last 12 months. Like, you're pretty...
Very difficult.
Very difficult time. But you applied, there was a few things you did. So I think environment, all the things you mentioned before, the 4 things, but you were in a bad place. But I think that's a good thing for people to know that, on the outside it might look great, but everyone's going through some pain sometimes.
Yeah, and it was... Thanks for bringing this up, because I love talking about the realness of life, not just all the fluffy, inspirational stuff. But the biggest thing for me that was a contributing factor towards me getting through that was the courage and the compassion for myself to give myself permission to ask for help.
Yeah.
And actually, I've built such an amazing coaching business. All the people I asked for help from are my clients. Yeah. Because I've built some really close relationships with them. And actually, I don't, like I mentioned before, I don't have drinking buddies. That's not who I am. Yeah. When I talk about shit, I want to have deep, meaningful conversations about life and purpose and business and legacy and and why we do what we do and human behavior and psychology, etc. So my friends become my clients, and I've got some really amazing, beautiful, successful friends / clients. And reaching out to those people, I was able to get different perspectives from different angles, and that was really, really helpful. But like you mentioned before, what helped me was what I know. And it's the same thing when I had the collision. When I woke up on day 10 or 11 in intensive care, and they were telling me, you were hit by a car, you've got metal all over your body, you've got like 46 scars, you've got stitches everywhere. I was like, I looked down on my body, and I looked up at the ceiling in my private room in the hospital, and I swear on my daughter's life, and never one moment, from the moment I woke up or became conscious to now,
Yeah.
never for 1 second felt like a victim.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Because I had been training for that moment all of my life.
Yeah.
And I remember looking up the ceiling thinking, thank God this happened to me.
Yeah.
Because some people, this will happen to them,
And
or
that's
even
it.
less of a tragedy.
Yeah.
And for the rest of their life, they'll say, I am this way
Yeah.
because of this.
Yeah.
And I knew I will show people
Yeah.
that you can be who you want to be in spite of this. And I said, my recovery will never be about me. And I documented the entire thing. A year later, after having my legs shattered and putting titanium rods in my legs, I summited the 4th highest freestanding mountain in the world, Mount Kilimanjaro. 6 months after that, I ran 3 marathons in 24 hours.
3 months after that.
No, 1 year after
1 year
the
after.
accident.
Okay. I was going to say 3 months you were still in hospital. That would have been
But it was way too early. And
Yeah.
actually, my mindset and determination and resilience got me to the top. And I'm not embarrassed to say it's not the most difficult mountain in the world, although
Yeah.
it is difficult.
Yeah.
People have died, but not many. But I summited it, and I wanted to show people that your past doesn't define your future. What happens to you is not who you are. It's what you do with what happens to you. That's who you are. That's your identity. And I got to the summit and I collapsed. And I had to be carried down to the first camp, whatever you call it, and just collapsed in the tent. And the next day I was fine.
Yeah.
And my body gave up. My body gave up. I
Yeah.
got to the summit of Kilimanjaro, and at one point I was so exhausted, I sat down as I fell onto the icicles, like the ice shards, and I cut my hand open. And I remember thinking, if these guides weren't here, I would sit here and fall asleep, and this is how people die on a mountain.
Yeah.
I was ready to die.
Yeah.
Sounds dramatic because it was Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
But I'd given everything. Over
Yeah.
that last year of being in hospital, recovery for 2 months, crutches on 6 months, it all came to this one moment.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
And someone once said to me in my recovery, why do you post everything on social media? I said, just you asking me that shows me that you don't know who I am.
Yeah.
My recovery was never about me.
Yeah.
It was about
Yeah.
people that it would reach. And I had people as far as Australia say, you don't know me. My son follows your recovery. He attempted to take his own life, and now he's fighting because of what you've been through. He's like, that I'm not suffering. That guy is suffering.
Yeah.
And look what he's chosen to do. And that's why I wrote the book called Spiritual Fitness. That's why I wrote How to Overcome Your Challenges, which also connects to the book.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't think people
Yeah,
realize
that's what
how
I did.
bad that accident was. I mean, you were full on smashed.
Oh, the doctor
Because
said
you were
I
going
don't
like
want
full
this.
pelt on the bike.
I was going downhill. I mean,
Downhill,
anyone
and
on
he
the
put,
bike
like-
knows that's you going at a speed.
yeah.
And this guy's driving drunk, came around the corner, crossed over my side of the road. I flew 100 meters
Yeah.
and got wedged between the metal barrier and a tree. On the, if that wasn't there, I might have kept going. And when they found me, I was, and this is obviously through other
Because left you for
people's.
dead, right? It didn't stop.
Oh no, yeah, people
Just
people.
Can you imagine
Some
doing
people
that?
in a car just saw this car coming towards them, and the whole windscreen was smashed, and there was a hole in the center of the windscreen. They were like, "What the fuck?" So they kept going, and then they saw like anyone that's seen a bicycle accident. Your bike usually the fork's broken or it's broken in 2 pieces. My bike was in like 20 pieces all over the road, and they were like, "Oh my god!" They saw the windscreen, they saw the bike, and then they opened the window and they heard and I was
You
just
didn't even know what the hell was going on.
I don't know. I
can't
don't
remember.
have any memory of that. And they told me that when they found me, I was between the barrier and a tree, and this leg was behind me. And this leg was folded in half, and this arm was like this. Like I was just a mess. And they airlifted me. They got an ambulance up the hill, took the ambulance down the hill, put me in a helicopter, rushed me to emergency. And the doctor told me when I woke up, he's like, I don't understand how you're alive. I said, I know I'm fucking alive because this is my purpose.
Yeah.
Because so too much suffering exists in the world, and a lot of people don't realize that they don't have to suffer.
Yeah.
Whether you were abused, I was abused. Whether you're in an accident, I was in an accident. If you've been broke, I've been broke. If you've been close to bankruptcy, I've been there. Have you been breakups, breakdowns? I've had it all. Still no excuse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you tell yourself that you can't get out of your shit, and that's where it starts with your thoughts. Unless you're willing to change what you think, you will never change your life.
Yeah.
And people can't do that for you.
Yeah.
You need to change what you think. No one's coming to your bedroom or to your house or to your apartment and saying, I've got some thoughts for you.
Yeah.
You need to change what you think. And that's why teaching and sharing and inspiring and podcasts is one of the greatest things you can do. You know, sometimes I get caught up in the misery of the world, in Israel, Palestine, just Lebanon, Russia, Ukraine, everywhere. There's suffering everywhere. But the greatest thing we can do is become the best version of ourselves. Because everyone is suffering. Yes, that's suffering, but I'm suffering in some way. You're suffering in some way. We all have suffering. It might be a little bit, but when you get to your glass being full, that's when the only thing left is to be in service to others. So we're all going, you know, people message me all the time like, oh, you should be talking on the war and this, like, hey, I'm figuring myself out. And I'm helping 20, 30, 40 people figure themselves out. But let me tell you this, when I am full, the only thing left when you're full is overflow. So that's our responsibility. Everyone can do that. You might not be able to change the war. You might not be able to change poverty in your country. You might not be able to change suffering in your community. But what you can change and what you have the power of every freaking day is bring yourself to overflow. That is the greatest service that you can give the world, is bring yourself to overflow. And that's my responsibility. Both in helping others do that and bringing myself
Jordan Peterson says that, doesn't he? He says, like, first of all, sort yourself out. Effectively, get your own shit in order first.
Yeah, there's a saying, take care of mind your own garden first.
Then look after your family, friends, then your community. So you can't. I think a lot of people start from nothing and think they're going to change.
Or they want to change the world, and they can't even change themselves.
But they haven't gone through the pain to make a difference, I don't think. And the okay, so I want to go back on a couple of things. Yeah, so you were training with the monks. I know you said that they didn't have like a holistic view on living, like there's bits missing
on full potential. On full potential, They know spiritual development, but they don't teach on anything else.
But I see like a big shift in. I mean, meditation's quite. Well, actually, I want to ask some tips on how to meditate properly, particularly if you've got ADHD and you get bored very quickly. But how do you see corporations, because you work with business leaders, I think you do a lot of work in the consulting space as well, like partners of big four law firms, and that's
sales teams.
That's a tough job. But do you see anything like meditation or spirituality or conscious business in the corporate world now? Has it become? I know, like, as a Gen Z, they're very into it. But is it a fad, or companies actually embracing that? And do you think there's an impact?
I think that's the way forward. Like you see, Dubai is ahead of other countries in so many ways, but you see them embracing it first. They have Happiness Street and they have a happiness minister, and I'm sure they have other things related to wellness. And I think maybe someone here knows in the studio, but I think there's something to do with if you come to work a certain time or you come to work a certain amount of days, you're rewarded in some way. I can't remember, but there's something like that in the UAE. But and once again, I think they're ahead, and other countries will just catch up. And now wellness budgets are increasing over the last 10 years in big companies like Accenture and a lot of like you mentioned, the big four. And it's because they understand that, one, new employees are more conscious of what matters and what's important, but also you're trying to, we only know what we know. We don't know what we don't know until we know it. And the world, the collective awareness of wellness is increasing every year. Where before we didn't know. Once upon a time, everyone thought smoking was healthy until it wasn't. And it's gonna continue to be like that. As we continue to raise our awareness, we will act on our awareness, and then we will raise our awareness more, we will act on our awareness. So it's impossible for things to change the same. And if it's a fad, it's only going to be because something better comes into existence. So and it's an absolute must. As we go into the digital world, as we come into AI, the world is becoming less connected. And we are tribes people. It doesn't matter where you come from, where you originate from. All humans come from tribes. We're the Arabian desert, the African bushveld, the Amazon jungle, the bush in Australia, the islands. We all come from tribes. And the number one thing that exists in all tribes is community, connection. And that's why I've been so inspired by seeing the connection in your household with the people that have been there. It's so wholesome. It's so healing, it's so energizing, it's so inspiring, it's so empowering. And it's not something that we create, it's our basic human nature. But behind screens and laptops and living a box life, as Tony Robbins would say, that arguably the number one coach in the world, you're on a box, talking on a box, working on a box, typing on a box, driving in a box, traveling in a box, probably in a box apartment or a box house that we've
and then
lost.
drink a cylinder to have a state
Yeah,
change.
yeah, exactly, yeah. We have disconnected from the world, from each other, from our communities, from our friends, and from ourselves. Because you can't be in something and be in yourself. So we've forgotten how to stay with ourselves, how to connect with ourselves. So, and that's the one reason, or one of the top reasons why people should meditate. Because if you can't meditate, that's not the truth. The truth is the relationship with yourself is so bad that you don't even know how to have a meeting with yourself. And that is shocking. That should shock most people. Like if you are saying that you can't meditate, you think it sounds like, oh, I can't run or I can't play badminton. No, your relationship with yourself is so poor that you don't even know how to sit in a meeting with you. That's just, yeah, that is shocking.
Yeah. And have you got any tips for people who just, because I think everyone knows about meditation, they've got all the apps. But yeah, just people, like if they meditate 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just to get a start, right? They don't need to be thinking 20 minutes, half an hour.
Super simple. I have a meditation that I created called 1-10-1, and it just means count to 10 back down to 1. If you can do that, you've meditated. Firstly, to help people understand what meditation is, many people try to meditate and they say, I'm successful, or they get frustrated and even angry because they think meditation is not thinking. That's not the truth. Meditation is being aware of your thoughts. There's a very, very big difference. So like you mentioned today, I think one of your friends was talking about a cloud. Was that you? Was it? Maybe I was in a meeting with a client, but they were talking about one of their friends. Oh yeah, I was in a client's coaching session. He was talking about one of his ultra running friends. Whenever he has dark thoughts come, he imagines that it's just a cloud. So in meditation, how you train your mind, and that's the purpose of meditation, train your mind. An uncontrolled mind is a suffering mind.
Dangerous.
An uncontrolled mind is a suffering mind. And with a suffering mind comes suffering emotions, or aligned to suffering, actions aligned to suffering, results aligned to suffering. How you change your results, your actions, and your energy and your thoughts and your behaviors and your emotions is by calming the mind and training the mind. And to create a visual, imagine a dog. You love a dog so much, right? You are the dog. But an uncontrolled dog causes absolute havoc. And even when you love the dog, you can start to hate the dog because it's uncontrolled. But if you can train the dog and say, sit, sit. You want food? Sit. You want the rabbit? Sit. You want the money? Sit. Eventually the dog knows, healed. Everyone has the ability to calm their mind to that level where it knows in any circumstance or situation, I remain still. That is personal power. There is no greater power than that. Equanimity. To stay at your center and never be pulled left or right, up or down by anything. And actually, I will say that taken from psychology, skill is not enough to be successful in life, whether that's in relationships or business or sport. When you want to really be the best that you can be, it's going to require challenges. If you want to have the greatest relationship, it's going to require challenges. Greatest business, require challenges. Greatest fitness or greatest sporting career is going to require challenges. So skill is not enough. What gets people to the top of their industry, of their game, of their relationships, of their life is psychology, not skill. Because if skill was enough, you could go to every podcast, every event, every course, every seminar, and you could just acquire the skill. But why only certain people make it is because they don't have the psychology to thrive under pressure.
You see that in sport.
All the time. Many people have the skill, but they freak out when they get to the top, or they self-sabotage. A lot of people self-sabotage in business and start doing bad things because they don't know how to deal with being at the top.
Yeah.
Whether that's because of a wound or just because of lack of belief in themselves, etc., or lack of evidence, and that they've not had people in their corner or having their back. So you need psychology, and when you're under pressure, you need to know how to stay calm. And there is no greater exercise in the world than to train your mind to be calm than to sit in meditation. So here's the short meditation. Once again, meditation is not about not thinking, it's about being aware of your thoughts. So you count from 1 to 10 at the exhalation of every breath. You stay, your only place or your only job is to stay with your breath. And as you breathe in, you train the mind to stay with the breath. And as you exhale, you train the mind to stay with the breath. And at the bottom of the breath, observing the bottom of the breath, you count 1. And then you breathe in all the way to the top of your lungs. The only job is to stay with the breath. Don't worry about the body, don't worry about the heart, all that comes later. Don't worry about your intention, the visualization. Stay with the breath, stay with the breath, stay with the breath. Oh, I'm at the top. I'm aware that I am at the top.
Yeah.
And then breathe out. Stay with the breath, stay with the breath, stay with the breath. I'm aware that I'm at the bottom. I'm at the bottom because I know I'm at the bottom, because I'm aware that I'm at the bottom. 2. Breathe in, get to 3, 4, all the way up to 10, back down to 1.
And what if you lose your track?
So, great question. So this is how you train the mind. Some people, and they might laugh when they do this because they'll realize how untrained their mind is.
It sounds easy, but it's
I've seen this happen where some people get to 1 and they never get to 2 because immediately they think about work or I can't meditate. The only thing you have to do, once again, judgment of the observation or attachment to the thought creates the suffering, not the thought. So with the awareness of, oh, I'm not counting anymore, your only job is to start again. So all you do is you start again. Start again at 1. Make it to 3, start again at 1. Make it to 5, start again at 1. It might take you 20 minutes to get to 10 and back down to 1. But then you've done a meditation. And it's the easiest meditation to do. Stay with your breath, observe the breath, right to the top, to the bottom, count to 10, back down to 1. But eventually over time, because you're building your resilience muscle, you're building your presence muscle, you're building your mindfulness muscle, eventually you'll get to 1 to 10, back down to 1 without forgetting your count. And then the brain will trigger that this is good for me, this is serving me, and you'll want to start doing it. Once you get to 10, back down to 1, and you achieve that performance outcome, you will want to start meditating. But you've got to train yourself to get there. Or for me, every single day when I wake up, because of my accident, I have post-traumatic amnesia, so I don't remember anything about the accident. But because I do have post-traumatic amnesia, my mind doesn't remember it. But there's a very famous book called Your Body Holds the Score. The accident and the trauma of the accident is still in my body. So sometime 5 years after the accident, I wake up and I'm shaking. And it's just trauma coming out. And it's me processing my trauma. I'm not negative in any way. I wake up grateful for every day. But there's this, I'm literally shaking. And the first thing I do every single morning, whether I'm shaking or not, is I don't start my day by accident or by coincidence. I start every single day of my life on purpose. I start it how I choose, not how someone else, including my body or my thoughts, tell me. So before I get out of bed, I do 1-10-1 every morning. And I might do it 2 times, I might do it 3 times. But that is the most powerful, easy meditation to get started. And I've been teaching meditation for almost 10 years. And I get my clients to do this, and they absolutely love it. Because there is no excuse. There's no excuse. And you cannot tell me that there isn't. Just sit with yourself, focus on your breath, count to 10, back down to 1, and try and tell me that there's no benefit to doing that. No one has ever been able to tell me that they didn't benefit from doing that. And if you can't get yourself to sit and count to 10, back down to 1, but you're trying to change your business and your life and your relationship, come on, man. Like, this is grown-ups work, you know? This is not child's play. Wishing for a better life and you can't count to 10 and 1, like, that's just child's play.
The bar's pretty low.
Yeah, like, hold yourself accountable. Come on.
But so there's another one is you mentioned before, so you do retreats. So I think your friend, I mean, we hosted a few like just fitness retreats.
Yeah,
but
private retreats. Yeah.
You and Emma, who is I think one of the biggest female leader ambassadors in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And you guys are hosting retreats in Thailand.
Well, we're doing a retreat.
You're doing a retreat,
Yeah.
okay, and that is in January? Or
In
when?
January, yeah.
January,
So that's a
okay.
conscious leadership retreat where
Yeah.
we'll get people to really understand consciousness, compassion, servant
Mm-hmm.
leadership, because this is what the world needs. And it starts with self. So
Yeah.
you think that it's about other people and about how you lead, but the greatest leaders always prioritize self-leadership. And this is my speciality.
Mm-hmm.
Emma's speciality is leadership. My speciality is self-leadership. My secondary thing is leadership. Once you've done self-leadership, Emma's
Mm-hmm.
secondary is talking about how leading yourself will make you a better leader. So we're combining our forces, so to speak,
Yeah.
to help people be better leaders in business so they can create a bigger legacy, create more impact
Yeah.
in their business and beyond their business communities, but by first leading themselves
Yeah.
and be more conscious of everything that they do. Self-awareness and situational awareness, what they're doing internally and what they're doing externally.
That's good.
And we're doing an event in November, 14th of November.
14th of November in Dubai.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We'll maybe leave some details in
Yeah.
the link. We'll also ask where people can find you as well. But yeah, that makes sense. Have you heard of John Maxwell's leadership rules for leadership? One's the leadership lid, which means
I know John
yeah,
Maxwell.
so he's
but I don't know that
got
example.
one of the things that actually makes a lot of sense, which is why coaching's so important. Because he says if you're, let's say, a 9 out of 10 leader, you'll be able to attract people with potentials of 7,
Yeah.
maybe 8. You'll never attract a 10, but most people realistically are maybe 7s or 8s. But he says if you're a 6, you're not going to attract a 7 or 8. So the whole thing you're talking about is, I think modern day leadership isn't just about being good or skillful. It's bringing your whole self to work. It's being fit, spiritual, kind, with boundaries. You've got to know when to have tough conversations. But I think something like that retreat, someone's going to get something, whether it's a routine, whether it's fitness, whether it's meditation, or I know you do like sacred ceremonies or whatever.
Yeah.
Breath work's very powerful.
Very powerful. Breath is the gateway to plant medicine. Many people think that to do plant medicine, you have to go sit in the jungle in Peru, in the Amazon, and sit with tribes and drink ayahuasca and puke your guts out for 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
But what's the most available nature to us? Trees. Where does oxygen come from? Trees. If you're willing to do a breath work, like holotropic breath work,
Yeah.
it's very powerful plant medicine, and it's
Yeah.
available to everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
I
hard
teach
though.
breath work as
It's
well.
like
it's
it is.
very difficult.
We're going to do a
yeah.
session this.
You can do what's hard and have an easy life, or do
Yeah.
what's easy and have a hard life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I do private coaching,
Yeah.
like from the bottom up. I do
Yeah.
social media content, which is free. Then I have a group coaching community. Then I run masterminds and retreats, and then I have private executive
Yeah.
level coaching.
And the plan is to be in Dubai more often.
Every
Because you
month,
live in,
yeah.
Thailand's cool, right? But like
Yeah.
say, the business opportunities, I think even a lot of people who work in Saudi and Abu Dhabi, they normally, well, not all of them, but a lot of them live in Dubai. So
Yeah.
you got some really inspirational.
Yeah, just I think
join
this is,
Capital Club. That's like a quick way.
well,
to,
you know what? When I was going to move here, before Thailand opened its borders after COVID, and I've always had a passion for Thailand, Thai boxing, Thai people. I've always spoken a little bit of Thai for many years. It was natural for me to go there. But I was going to move to Dubai. I got my business is here, my bank account is here, I've got Emirates ID, and I was going to join Capital Club. That's how I met Dave Chagger, the sales manager, right? Sales director.
Yeah.
And that's how I recommend it to you. It's a brilliant place.
Yeah.
But I think this is the mecca of success minds.
Yeah. Everyone here I think it attracts a certain mindset. People want to get on in life, and they get.
No one is coming to Dubai to coast through life.
Yeah. And I mean, I think some people have made it big, and they might have this as a hub. But yeah, the people who want to work
maybe
here,
they've already got to where they want. But no one's
But
coming
even
here.
when you get here and you do that,
No one's coming living an average
No.
life and saying I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
You just
Because you come, even if you have done financially well, you come and meet someone else, and you're like, okay, I need to up my game. But the point being is you're going to be here for a long time, so I know you do. And we had that run with the partner from the Big Four, and he was like, please do a speech in my company. So if you're
In
here,
Saudi,
I think in Saudi.
Yeah, I'm open to podcasts,
Yeah.
talks, seminars,
And
workshops. I definitely want to go to Saudi because I think they could really benefit from
I think a lot of
my
corporations.
style of coaching.
Yeah. And in terms of preparation, I think you need like 3 minutes per topic.
Yeah.
And you can talk for 4 hours.
I just need to know
it's
three
a 1
things,
minute to
yeah.
1 hour thing. You don't need any preparation. Yeah. So I think that you're doing a talk on discipline and consistency. But anyway, if you're here in Dubai and Saudi and Abu Dhabi in the Middle East, and someone wants to hire you as a speaker, depending on the opportunity, you might do it at a good deal. But yeah, that's definitely something. I've seen you talk.
Yeah,
it's awesome. So that's something.
Well, you've had me speak in your company multiple times.
Yeah. You had them sold.
And then you went and sold it for millions. I put it down to me.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
Actually, you love it.
And I've worked with your leaders.
Yeah. So, because I've come there, I think we'll sort of come to the end. We'll probably have to do another podcast at some point. It's been my first one, so thanks for making it so easy.
I'm honoured to be your first guest.
Yeah. And I'd like to sort of leave with a few things. People can find you at JP D.V.
Performance.com.
Performance.
To be honest, I've never really relied on my website. So I have this really beautiful website, but I don't use it. Where I share my life, which I think is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Mahatma Gandhi, when asked what his message was, he said, "My life is my message." That inspired me 15 years ago.
Yeah.
How I choose to live my life, I want that to be my message. And if you choose to to be magnetized by that message, come to me and you'll find me. So the best way to do that in short form is Instagram, Karuna Warrior, Karuna. It just means compassion. I'm willing. My commitment is. No, it's Sanskrit. So it's actually what I have tattooed on my face.
Yeah.
It's a commitment that I cannot ignore, which is fighting for compassion.
Okay.
Because suicide shouldn't exist, war shouldn't exist, abuse shouldn't exist, animal cruelty shouldn't exist. And I've dedicated my life to alleviating suffering in every way that I can by being a role model for that. So I try to do that through Instagram and pushing my limits and practicing everything that I practice and sharing it with the world. And I'm just starting to get into more consistent long form on YouTube. And YouTube is my company name, JP D.V. Performance.
JP D.V. Performance.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's my initials,
So leave a link to
JPDV,
that.
but it's also an acronym, which is what I help people to have in their life, which is joy, passion, discipline, and vision.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Great, so people need to go and check that out. I know you've got like free downloads of books. I think there's a lot of resources when they get to
my
find
books
you.
are on Amazon.
Yeah.
They're on my website. I've got just probably thousands of hours of videos. I've been around for such a long time. If you just type my name into Google, you're going to find everything. You'll find the accident. You'll find how I forgave the driver in court, and that went viral. You'll find my books. You'll find talks from me all over the world. You'll find podcasts. You'll find articles. I've been on on front covers of magazines. It's just so much. There's so much. It sounds very arrogant, but if you just want to have a full glance of who I am, just go to Google and type my name.
Okay. And that's great. Well, thanks for coming in today. And I think the final question is how can you structure it? It's what do you think is the most underrated discipline, mindset shift, tool, routine that people is readily available, the most underrated one that could have a massive impact in someone's lives? Do you think, why aren't people doing this? Like the most underrated discipline, skill or routine that people could implement?
So I think before I answer that, I want to just kind of give a supporting story to this answer. Living your truth is living your most authentic self. This is the highest vibration. But no one really in the world is living their truth. Not enough people. So in order for you to break out of societal conditioning, you're going to face challenges. And, we spoke earlier about me facing challenges. I built a team in Thailand. And because of, I guess, all the things that changed in my life, the divorce, moving countries, becoming a monk, getting face tattoos, that team didn't work out. I lost tens of thousands. And I started again from having this full-time team to being on my own. It was no one's fault. Every single person that came on my team was brilliant. But I didn't know what I was doing. I was paying people $4,000 a month. And I was just starting out building a team. And I had 5 people on my team. That didn't work out. And then I wasn't in the UK anymore, which I didn't consider would hit me so hard. Yeah. And last year I ended up from being one of the top coaches in the UK, definitely one of the top charging coaches in the UK, if not Europe, even the world. I charged a lot of money to work with me privately. To almost losing everything. And then to having my daughter, and that was just like a miracle. Her name's Mila. One of the meanings of Mila is miracle. It was a miracle. It just happened. And I've been visualizing having a daughter, not a child. I've been visualizing having a daughter for 20 years. When I was in my 20s, I visualized my daughter holding my finger and walking with me. And every time she does that now, my heart just melts into a million pieces. But it all happened very fast. The move, the accident, the divorce, the move to Thailand, the becoming a monk, the becoming a father, the business not being where it was for like 10 years. What got me through all of that and what pushed me to keep going was one thing: loving myself enough. And it sounds spiritual, and it's not like a specific thing that you can do, but if there is one thing that people can do to change, to elevate the quality of their life, to move in a different direction, to break free from your suffering, to break free from a job just over broke, to change your business, to start a business, to quit a business, to declare bankruptcy, to get a divorce, to commit and finally propose, whatever it is that you want to change, the solution is love yourself enough. And that is why I teach now. Part of what I do, the many things from DJing to coaching to speaking to being a professional athlete and martial artist to doing ceremonies to just it's all to do with living your fullest potential. But you're not going to do any of that stuff that you want to do in your life if you don't love yourself enough. So love yourself enough to give yourself permission. Love yourself enough to change. Love yourself enough to look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself the truth. Love yourself enough to put on your shoes. Love yourself enough to ask for help. Love yourself enough to speak your truth. Love yourself enough to hear the truth. Love yourself enough to look up rather than looking down. Sometimes in life, the only thing we need to do to change our perspective in life is look up. Because when you look up, you'll see so much beauty and reasons to be grateful exist in the world. But many of us have been through so many hard times, so many challenges and so much adversity that we hang our head through life and we only see the flaw. When you look at the floor every day, you can't even see where you are. You can't even see where you've come from. You can't even see who you've already become. Look up, look back, look sideways, look up, look around you, and start to be grateful for where you are. And in that gratitude, you begin the practice of self-love and self-compassion. That is the first opening the gate to self-love, being grateful for your life. Everything that is, everything that isn't. Everything that is now and everything that was and has been lost. Everything that is now and everything that is potentially yet to come in the future, whether that is good or bad, love it all. Love is the answer, love is the solution, love is the greatest frequency in the world. And you cannot have love and hate in the same time. You cannot have love and hate, love and regret at the same time. You cannot have love and misery at the same time. And you cannot have love, fear, uncertainty at the same time. Bring yourself to love, you bring yourself home to your full potential and who you really are, and then act from that place. If there's only one thing, action, I could leave people, and I knew that 100% they would act on it after this podcast, it would be make every decision for the rest of your life from the place of love.
Nice. Well, I think that's probably the best way to end the podcast. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Some great insights, tips to eat better, sleep better, live better. So I'll leave some details on what you've always said, how people can get in touch with you. But that's been a pleasure. So thanks for coming. And that ends the first podcast. So thanks a lot.
I'm so excited to share it, to listen back to it.
Hopefully
to be in this amazing studio in Dubai. I've been hosted on podcasts and I've hosted people on podcasts for maybe 10 years. This is by far the longest podcast I've ever done, but it's not felt like that because I'm sitting with one of my closest friends. So it's been an absolute honor, dude. And thanks you could have had so many people in your first episode and you chose me. So I'm grateful for that, dude.
No worries. It's been great. Okay. Thanks, buddy.
Cool, man.
Yep. Enjoy. We'll see you soon.
Cheers.